Sega hit it out of the park with the Genesis. Powerful hardware for its time, a great sleek look, great controllers, and lots of fantastic games. The Sega Genesis had a long life, but by the mid-90s it was starting to show its age. Rather than surrender the system to its fate, Sega tried to extend it with two expansions, the Sega CD and the 32X. Neither did very well, but Sega had another trick up its sleeve. Earlier, Sega had released a product called the Sega MegaJet. This little device is basically a scaled-down Genesis and controller in a single form factor. No screen, and it had to be plugged in, but it was semi-portable. For its last attempt to keep the Genesis alive, Sega added a screen and batteries to the MegaJet, and called it the Nomad. Sounds cool, right? Play all your classic Genesis games on the go. What could go wrong? Well, a few things, but it's far from a total loss. I paid $70 for it, brand new, many years ago. That was way under the MSRP though, which was a quite pricey $180. Pulling the unit out, you can see the first issue regarding portability. The thing is a brick. I mean, literally. It's approximately the shape and size of an actual brick. The kind of brick you make houses out of. It does weigh less, so I guess that's something. In comparison to other portables, the difference is clear. Even in comparison to the elderly Game Boy, the thing is massive. You might also notice there is no battery compartment. Instead, you have to fill this box thing with 6 AA batteries. Then you lock it on the Nomad's back, making the whole unit even larger. Needless to say, you're never going to be doing this. The Nomad is, much like Sega's Game Gear, simply not a pocket portable. Oh yeah, and about those 6 AA batteries, yeah, using regular AAs, the thing has the worst battery life of any portable I have ever used. I haven't timed it, but I would guess an hour is the maximum you're going to achieve. That's right, 1 hour. I remember taking this to my grandmother's house once, and I ended up using 18 batteries in about a day of on and off play. The best solution at the time was to get this, the Power Pack. With this block locked on, battery life was much better. I'd say 4 to 5 hours, which is adequate for a portable. You could probably achieve a similar level with today's high-capacity rechargeable AAs. It still ain't fitting in your pocket, though. I had no problem with the portability issues. To this day, I still never carry a portable with me. They're strictly a play in the car, the plane, or while visiting some place device. So large size isn't really much of an issue, at least if you're like me. Let's look at the screen. It's a solid size, very good adjustable backlight, very solid color reproduction, and a much higher refresh rate than other portables of the time. Compared to the original Game Boy, which is unlit and very blurry, and obviously not in color. It's a really nice screen, no problems at all. You can even play text-heavy RPGs without issue. In fact, about half of my first playthrough of Shadowrun, a forgotten Genesis RPG classic, was on my Nomad. Moving on to controls, these are also very good. The D-pad is one of the best on any portable I've ever used, and the buttons are also good. The A button on mine is getting a little sticky, and the spacing is a bit wider than I'd prefer, but they're still quite nice overall. How does the unit feel when held? Well, you can really feel how thick it is. At first, this is a little uncomfortable, but if you have medium or larger hands, you get used to it, and it's actually fairly comfortable. The Nomad also has some nice extra features. On top are two very cool ones. One is a power port, which works with the standard Genesis 2 AC adapter, meaning you can simply plug this baby into the wall. You can also use a Game Gear car adapter, which is great for road trips. Also on top is AV out, which works with the AV cord from a Genesis 2. This means you can use the unit as a full home console. Very nice, and the two parts needed were, and still are, easy to find. Believe it or not, the Nomad also has a second player controller port on the bottom. Plug in a Genesis controller and someone can join in. The second controller port does raise one interesting question. Can you use a multi-tap with it? Well, obviously you can't use the Electronic Arts adapter, it requires two controller ports. But yes, you can use the official Sega unit called the Team Player adapter. The Nomad instructions even show you how to set it up correctly. Trying it out, it looks rather ridiculous. You get a lap full of cords. Better yet, I stuck in Yu Yu Hakusho Makyo Toitsu-san, a Genesis game requiring a Game Genie code to work on the US system. This supports the multi-tap, and it works great, but I got a Game Genie sticking out with a cart sticking out of that, a power cord, and 3 controllers sticking out of all of this. What a mess. Another interesting question that comes up about the Nomad is import games. Will Japanese games, which are shaped differently, fit in the slot? Well, yes, if you push really hard, and then pull really hard to get them out. Wow, you can see part of the back label got cut off by the slot. I suggest using a Game Genie as a pass-through cartridge. On another note, Herzog's Vi is fucking awesome. Another little fun bit. I've heard people ask if you can use lock-on games with Sonic and Knuckles. Well, of course you can. Sonic 3 and Knuckles, probably the best Sonic game that will ever be made, plays flawlessly on the Nomad. Yes, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is a truly great game, but the Genesis has a lot more where that came from. This is where the Nomad truly shines, the library. You've got the Sonic games, Shadowrun, Shining Force 2, the Streets of Rage series, the Vector Man series, Mega Bomberman, and tons more. Of course, another downside is Genesis carts are a lot bigger than Game Boy or Game Gear carts. Again, leading me to conclude this unit is only good as a long trip portable, not a carry-everywhere kind of unit. So basically, you've got a big-ass semi-portable unit that can achieve acceptable battery life with the right accessories. The screen is great, the controls are very good, the library is phenomenal, and multiplayer support is excellent. If you use this unit strictly as a semi-portable, it's actually quite good. Just remember, it is an awful everyday carry kind of portable. Keep all of this in mind, and the Sega Nomad is a wonderful addition to a Genesis fan's collection.